you guys were begging for this call to take place because you obviously couldn't get on calls necessarily in the middle of the day. So that starts this week. Anyway, we're going to go live and then we are ready to rock and roll. So a little bit to cover before we got started, guys. But apart from that, we're ready to rock and roll with a Q&A episode. Good morning, beautiful Sarah. I hope you're well. Hey, Michelle. Vicky's in the house as well. And Narelle, I hope you guys are great. All right, let's rip into another episode of Q&A. And the first thing I'm going to notice is Michelle. So she's asking the question, I am struggling with my sleep. My body clock just keeps waking up at 1 a.m. and I struggle to get back to sleep. How do I try and get back to sleep? Give us a silent head nod if that's you. If you're just like, your sleep is crap, here is the problem. When you don't sleep, right? People talk about sleep all the time, right? And I'm the worst at it. Oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead type thing. If your sleep is not right, you're going to have all kinds of problems. These problems are going to be emotional regulation problems. They're going to be mindset problems. So, for example, it's extremely difficult to make really good decisions when you're tired because your willpower is down, right? There's a lot of reasons. Your hormones get out of whack. You have no energy. You're probably more likely to eat really sugary foods or high calorie foods. So it's an actual problem. And I actually think that if you're someone who's at the start of your journey and you just don't even know where to start, I would personally focus in on the sleep first and foremost. Now, the problem with it, Michelle, is that there are so many layers to sleep, and I want to plant some questions rather than give you the answers because it's going to depend very much on the individual. As an example, it is well known that women going through peri or menopause struggle to sleep because of the changes to their hormone profile. So you could have all the cups of tea in the world, but if you are going through menopause, you're probably going to have some upset to your sleeping, either through hot flushes or through some other regulation. And so I would personally, if this was happening to myself or to my partner or my mom, I'd be advising them to go and talk to doctor about HRT or anything down that line. I'm not saying you have to take that. I'm just simply saying that that's like the big rock. Next, I think the second big rock when it comes to sleep is you've actually got to take it seriously. Now, I'll give you an example. Me and my partner were sitting on the lounge last night and I was doing the merchandise order for you guys. And the reason I stayed up was because I need to stay on a time, right? Get it done, right? And so I had to get that order closed out by last night. She was there watching some fucking Love is Blind or something like that. She was falling asleep while she was watching it and telling me how tired she was at the same time, but then not going to bed. She knew she had to go to sleep. She'd worked all weekend and she just wanted to veg out, which is completely fine. It's good. That's what you should do, right? But the problem is that she then also wanted to get up and go to the gym this morning. You can't burn from both ends. It's like you're going to end up burning out. So the second most important point, aside from the hormones, Michelle, is you actually have to take it seriously. Now, once you get those two parts in place, the big rocks, you actually have to be disciplined. Go to bed. Then we can talk about all the other things. And all the other things are numerous. They are going to be things like the temperature of your room. Is it too hot? If it's too hot, you won't stay asleep. Are you drinking large amounts of fluid before you go to sleep? The more you drink, the more you're going to wake up and therefore going to go to the toilet, then struggle to get back to sleep after that. Are you noticing that you're having bigger meals and that leads to you sleeping better or worse? So what I would recommend doing, Michelle, is a sleep diary where you essentially write down the morning, when you wake up in the morning or when you go to sleep at night, write down what you've done, what type of a day that you've had in the lead up to that. And you want to try to connect the dots. What quality sleep am I getting? And what am I doing? And if you can do that, and you're going to probably think to yourself, oh my God, that's so much work. Well, it's so important. If you want to solve this, it's so important. You have to connect what's happening to what you're doing. So for me, I know I love tea. I love having a couple of zero alcohol beers before I go to sleep, just on the couch while I'm just chilling out. The problem is that that's like a liter of fluid that I'm putting in my bladder. I haven't got the steely resolve that my toddlers do. I need to piss in the middle of the night. And so when I get up, I interrupt my sleep, and then I have to get back into the zone of sleeping. And then I look at my clock and think, well, I'm getting up at 4 a.m. anyway. I might as well just stay awake. And then I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about getting the merch run done. I'm guessing yours is the same. So what you've got to do is you've got to have a process of elimination where you work through what you're experiencing. Am I waking up because I'm anxious? Am I waking up because I'm hot? Am I waking up because I'm any infinite? And then you've got to try to diagnose what's that happening. And now if that feels like, oh, that's a lot of work. Okay. I want you to ask yourself, why are you carrying weight? The likely reason you are carrying weight is because you're too tired to exercise. And this, by the way, this is for everyone. Too tired to exercise, making not so great food choices to try to pop up your energy levels when you hit that snacky time of day, kind of not feeling great. And so as a consequence, some emotional eating. So if you actually fix the core issue, which is crappy sleep, all of the other stuff gets easier. Does that make sense? Now, Michelle, I could talk about this for 4 years. The thing I want you to focus on, 1, what's your hormone profile like? Number 2, are you actually taking it seriously? And if the answer to those are, yes, I'm working on them, great. Then start to do a cause and effect investigation. What's happening? Why is it happening? Try to link the two, and a sleep diary is a really, really good way to do that. Long answer to the first question, but it's that important. Good morning, Ron, James, Sonny, and Glenn, some of my favorite brothers in that lineup there. Guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask, you pop them in the comments, and I will definitely answer them. Hello to our friends on Instagram. Okay, is there a way to increase testosterone naturally for men and women? Yes, there is. And how much are you going to move the needle? It's interesting because Kid just asked something similar about low testosterone. Okay, so here's the way you want to be thinking about this. Now, before you switch off as women, this is actually really important for women as well, right? Like you need testosterone to actually feel some level of energy and some get up and go. All right, so how can you boost it? Number 1, get in the gym. Number 1, you have to do some lifting. This leads to the signal to the body to release some testosterone. Number 1, okay? Number 2, you need to increase your protein. These are all things that we teach you inside a Better Body Academy. It's all part of an aligned model. You need to lift weights. Doesn't mean you need to be living in the gym 5 days a week. 3 days a week would be perfect for 95% of people. Get in and lift some weights. Get a high protein diet happening. And most importantly, go back to the first question, we've got to sleep properly. The biggest killer, it's really funny, you got all these guys and girls that are trying to, particularly men, they're doing TRT and then they are having a party lifestyle. Doing TRT and then getting drunk is like going to McDonald's, ordering fucking 3 Big Macs and a Diet Coke. It doesn't make any sense. You like, one is way worse than the other. So the natural way to increase testosterone is not through these stupid testosterone boosters. It's that don't do anything, by the way. It is to, number 1, look after your lifestyle. When you get your lifestyle right, your whole lifestyle improves. Okay? Now I'm going to go back to the question on Insta. What do you suggest for diet when you have low testosterone to lose weight? I'm doing protein, 12 to 1500 calories, low carbs. Kid depends on so I don't know girl or guy, but that's a low number of calories for you to be in as a permanent thing, right? You could dip into there occasionally, but that really is not going to help because you're going to be constantly low on energy. And I know a lot of us really want to dip into these lower calorie levels. Guess what will happen? Yes, you will lose some weight, but then bang, you will hit a wall. If you have to get to super low calories to be able to lose fat, what ends up happening is you hit the wall. Okay? Let's discuss something here, team. If you have 10 to 20 kilos to lose or more, and you are currently at somewhere between 13 and 1500 calories, I'm going to say that again. If you got 10 to 20 kilos to lose or more, and you are at, I don't know, 12 to 1500 calories, and you're doing 10,000 steps a day, if you're in that zone, your body is just getting to the point, your metabolism is struggling. The most important thing that you could possibly do would be to build muscle. This is the most important. This is going to correct the issues. The problem is, this is not going to happen overnight. Now, I'm going to share a video from my favorite podcast. I'm going to share it into the group later on today. And I plead that you read it. I plead that you watch it. Okay? This video is going to help you to understand just how important lifting weights is if you have 10 to 20 kilos to lose or more, and you are currently eating 1500 calories a day or lower. If you're in that zone, your only escape out permanently is to build muscle. You guys in Better Body, you guys on Instagram, you don't trust me yet, and that's cool. You guys in our academy, you have to trust me in this. You're just going to keep, if you just keep dropping your calories, here's what's going to happen. Yes, you will lose weight in the short term, but you're going to hit up against a wall because you can't keep dropping your calories lower and expect to preserve the muscle and stay consistent with that. So what is going to happen is you're going to break that diet, right? Because you can't keep it up. You're going to lose muscle, which is the reason why it's showing up on the scales and you think it's good, but it's fucking really bad. And actually what happens is the moment you start going back to what you did before, you end up trapped, putting on weight again. This is why Ozempic or GLP-1s without resistance training and high protein diet are a really bad idea. GLP-1s with resistance training and high protein diet can be extremely beneficial and helpful, and I would recommend them in some circumstances. But if you are not, look, people think going to the gym is like an option. Over the next decade, what you're going to see, and I'm talking to you, Narelle, I'm talking to you, Fiona, and Joanne, and Michelle, and Deb. I'm talking to you, ladies, particularly. It's like, it should be added to the, like, you need to be doing this list. It is so freaking important. If I could make one global change to women, it would be gym, 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 lift weights. You will not start looking bulky. It just won't happen. This is as bulky as I can get lifting for 30 years with a bloody good diet. So if this is as big as I can get, going 3 to 4 days a week to the gym on a pretty good diet, what chance have you going to be of getting bulky with your fucking 5 kilo dumbbells that you've been lifting for the last 6 months? It's just zero chance. So as soon as we can move beyond the bulky idea and just understand that when you go into the gym and you do this for a little bit, what happens is the muscle feels a bit swelled. That's just fluid. It's just blood that's sitting in the muscle. It goes away, unfortunately, right? It goes away in a day or two. And then you're starting again, and then you're starting again. But if you repeat this process over time, your body composition, it will change crazily. Here's the problem. Most of us, when we're in that position, we're at 1,500 calories, we know we still need to lose 20 kilos, and we don't see movement on the scales for the first 2 or 3 months, we start to question, I shouldn't be doing this gym work. This isn't the thing that I should be doing. It is. It's exactly what you should be doing, because you need to fix your metabolism permanently. You can't undo 20 years of dieting in a week. I will put the podcast up later on today, guys. I would really insist that you watch it. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, I'm on a bit of an energy boost today, guys. I don't know why. I'm just feeling absolutely brilliant. So if you got any questions, guys, hello, Dino. Hello, Rose. If you got any questions, guys, bang them in the comments. Shauno says, I'm a big bloke, 160 kegs. I have slipped L5 disc. I'm 41 years old and disgusted with myself. I want to change. Any suggestions? Yeah, Shauno, look, firstly, brother, I think the first thing that you are doing is coming into something like this and asking for help, okay? Look, we've got one of our most successful boys ever. His name's Chris. He has been with us for over 2 years, and he's gone from 180 kilos, 170 kilos, down to 110 kilos, right? So he's lost about 70 kilos. He's also just 43, 44, right? In exactly the same position as you. Now, he would have said the exact same thing. I'm just disgusted in myself. The first thing, bro, is that you got to make a decision. Are you going to let your past determine your future, right? That's easier said than done. The reality is, Shauno, right? You know this as much as I do, and I'm not going to pull any punches here, bro, because I just want to fucking help people, right? You know as much as I do, bro, that if you do nothing, you're not going to last very long. And that's really sad, because I can tell, like, just in the way you delivered that message, that comment, you just want some help, right? And so the first thing is to decide, you know what? Like, no one's coming to save me, man. And when you decide that, you don't have to then go and cut your calories, go on a Ozempic, go walking, go running. Like, that's just not reasonable. That's why everyone fails. Instead, brother, what we instead need to do is take it slow. Just take it slow. Best thing I would suggest is start eating a little bit more, eating a little bit better, okay? We dial in some of the hidden calories in our diet. When we take them out, all of a sudden, we can bring our average calorie consumption down a little bit. If you were to lose the first 5 to 10 kilos, Sean, that would give you some hope, okay? That would give you some hope. Most people, when they're up above 150 kilos, they've lost all hope and self-esteem, right? If you're watching this on live, let me know if that's true. You've lost all self-esteem, and it's such a hard position to be in. And I can't even say that firsthand. So then what we've got to do is we've got to restore some hope. And the way we do it is we do a little thing and then follow through on that little thing. Little thing, follow through on that little thing. Little thing. We start keeping promises to ourselves. That doesn't mean that you get on a treadmill and start running. Exercise-wise, you might not be able to support your weight. So what I would recommend is something like maybe grabbing an exercise bike, or just, if you can, just walk, or maybe jump in a pool where your weight's supported. Okay, but we've got to start with the nutrition. That's the most important part. Okay, I think for you, brother, we have to keep it simple. This is the most important thing. If we can keep it simple, weight loss is not hard. The good thing about being very overweight is that your maintenance calories are so high. They're so high because there's so much body that when you reduce them just a little bit, you start getting results fairly quickly. Does that make sense? Dude, if you need some help, mate, send me a DM. Hello, Jace, you see my question on YouTube? I don't even know, brother. Throw it in here, okay? Throw it in here. Guys, if you got any questions, whack them in here and I'll happily help. Sometimes I cry myself to sleep. Brother, that's like, take it and yeah. I've got Glenn here saying, even at 110 kilos, Sean, you lose self-esteem, mate. Motivation comes from action. just starting is the key. This coming from a guy that's just lost his first 10 kilos, Shauno, you can do it, brother. You probably just need to be surrounded by the right people. Good morning, Nikki and Tam. How are you, girls? All right, if you've got any questions, guys, whack them into the comments. Can I still gain heaps of strength if I'm not flexible? The short answer to that is yes, you can absolutely gain heaps of strength if you're not flexible. However, you do want to try to develop your strength over a full range of motion. Why is that important? Because if you're only strong, let's pretend you're just doing squats and you're only doing squats, mostly like the little half squat things. If you're only doing that, right, and it might be because you got injury or it might be a bunch of different reasons. The reality is short motions like that are not really what you do in your life, are they? When you bend down to pick something off the floor, you kind of do a deadlift, right? When you go and pick a baby up, there are different things that happen in your life. And if you don't get strong over a full range of motion, what ends up happening is when you then go and do one of those things like pick something up off the floor, that's when you do your back, right? Because you're not used to getting into that. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to do like a whole lot of mobility training that's loaded with weight. Just need to get into the position, slowly starting to. So things like, for example, full body weight squats, right? You don't need to load them up. You just try to gradually. Now, let's say that you can hardly get off the couch at the moment. That's fine. That's the starting point. The first point we start at is getting up off the couch, developing strength to get up off the couch. Then eventually we start getting some depth. We start getting some depth. We start getting some depth. Everything in health and fitness is incremental. The problem is that when we scroll our Instagram feed, what we see is the finished product. You see fitness influencers that are the finished product. They've been doing this for a long period of time. And you look at that and you think that they can be doing that out of the blocks. You might see me doing a squat, taking my ass to my heels, or doing a bench press of 150 kilos and think, well, I could do that in the next 2 years. Dude, I started lifting when I was 10 years old. 10 years old. So if you just repeat over and over and over and over and over again, you drill it and you drill it and you become addicted to that process, all of a sudden things start becoming easier. And as you get like incrementally better at lifting weights, your skills will improve and then your strength will improve as well. Okay, it's got to be incremental. Team, if you have any questions, you know what to do. Bang them in the comments. What would you recommend? When would you recommend to start increasing your calories? Yeah, so if you're in our elite program, this is something, one of the first courses that I want to develop is a proper aesthetic course to walk you through really how we would go about a reverse diet. Okay, so how we would really do it properly. What I would recommend in terms of starting to increase your calories is when you've lost maybe the first 5 to 10 kilos, you're sitting at like a lower level of calories, you're adding in, you're doing your 10,000 steps, maybe you're doing a little bit of cardio in there as well, and you just feel like for the last month or two, you're not really getting anywhere and it's getting harder and you're not really seeing any movement. So you're kind of stuck. And when you're stuck, you're in that position where you're thinking, you know what? I'm just gonna cut down to 1,300 as an example. Well, then we know that the consequences of that are generally going to be that you're going to get really tired, you're going to get really sluggish, you're going to get really weak, and you're probably going to start losing muscle if you stay there. So in those circumstances, what I would recommend doing is, in that circumstance, going through what we'd call a reverse diet or a lean gains period. A lean gains period. This is where you, at the pace that you want to do it, you could start increasing your calories gently up, but you have to set the expectation for the period that you're doing this. You're not going to be losing weight most likely. You got to slowly roll your calories up, slowly, slowly, slowly. And what you're trying to do is try to get strong. That's the big thing. Get strong, build a little bit of muscle. Hopefully, if we can build a little bit of muscle, we rectify our metabolism. We get our metabolism, our what's called our BMR, just burning more calories. And guess what? At that point, if we can wind you back out to a higher number of calories over 4 to 6 months, we can then cut from 2,500 calories as opposed to cutting from 1,500 calories. If you cut from 1,500 calories, you cut 200 calories from 1,500 calories, you end up at 1,300 calories. If you cut from 2,500 calories, you end up at 2,300 calories. Which one is going to be easier to sustain? Again, the problem is that you're going to go through a period where you're going to feel like there's no change. Again, for those of you that are in our academy, I'm going to share a video later on today, and I really insist that you watch this video. Got a couple questions coming in off Instagram. If I'm looking to put on muscle now, after losing about 40 pounds, is it beneficial to add on an additional day of workouts? 4 days total. Yeah, look, Hannah, I think there's like probably for 95% of people, training 3 or 4 days a week is ideal. I did a reel on this recently. Training 7 days a week is shit for building muscle. Training 6 days a week is bad. Training 3 to 4 days a week is the sweet spot. Why? Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, if you just keep adding more days, you're not recovering in between, right? That's when the muscles actually grow. The second thing is, if you have the ability to train 5 or 6 days aggressively hard, then your aggressively hard is very different to my aggressively hard. Like, you could provide enough stimulus in 3 to 4 days to then have the rest of the week off. And this is the reason why full body splits or upper lower splits are my favorite. So is it beneficial? 3 to 4 days, no more, slowly increasing your calories, making sure that your protein's on check, and getting rest in between. Okay, Kikid, GLP-1, not readily available in Oz. What brand and where do you suggest? Well, Kikid, if you are of high enough weight, then like that would be reason for you to speak to your GP. And if it's on the PBS as part of diabetes management, my understanding is you can get hold of it. Whatever the case, I am not in the business of recommending brands, particularly to someone I don't actually know. The big thing is that you need to get a coach, straight up. GLP-1s can either be amazing or really bad, in my opinion. Amazing if you've got a coach to help you with the lifestyle and nutrition component and the training component. Terrible if you go to your doctor says, I think we should put you on Ozempic, and you go, yep, 100%, that sounds like a good idea. You start losing weight quickly, and then before you know it, you've actually just lost a ton of muscle. And then when you come off the Ozempic, the hunger returns, and then fat comes back on much more easily. And the reason is because your metabolism is slower now because you've lost muscle. The currency of health is muscle. If you have muscle, you have body composition, you have strength. If you have muscle, you have better complexion, you have better skin, you have better energy level. There's no downside to naturally created muscle. Zero. It should be the goal for every single person that wants to look a little bit better. That's what I thought. Great comment. Okay. Hopefully, like, I wasn't trying to be rude in any way. I just think it's really, really important to just be like decisive about there's good use of Ozempic and there's bad use of Ozempic. Okay. So team, we're coming to the end of our questions. What is your opinion? No, I've got a few more. What's your opinion on powdered greens instead of eating veggies? Look, I think powdered greens are fine. Do I take them? No. Do they do anything like miraculously special? Well, if you look at bloody Andrew Huberman and these guys promoting AG1, you would think that they fucking make it like Christmas every day, wouldn't you? They don't. They don't. I would definitely argue, as far as my understanding, I would definitely argue that you would be just better taking a basic vitamin and mineral tablet and you're good. Take a vitamin and mineral tablet, enjoy eating a host of different fruit and vegetables, and you're good. I don't see the need to take a concentrated greens powder personally. A lot of the time when you're seeing these fitness influencers or health influencers, whatever you want to call them, you know, they're it's not that they're pushing a bad product, but is the product something that you need to go out and grab? Probably not. The products that you need to go out and grab 100% are creatine, probably a multivitamin, probably a protein powder, and then one of the questions that I had here was omega-3. So over the last year, I've added omega-3 to my personal supplementation regime. The reason that I've added omega-3 is because if you look at the evidence, it is pretty overwhelmingly positive. All of the supplementation that I take, creatine, protein, multivitamins, and omega-3, is all like, you can't argue with it. It's not like fucking carnitine, or it's not like branched chain amino acids, or it's not like essential amino acids, where literally the evidence is very, very lacking. It's very lacking, or at best, inconclusive. Collagen protein, for example, it's inconclusive. It might have some benefits, it might not. Omega-3 has got to the point for me where you should take it. Now, how should you take it? Well, as a tablet, as a fish oil tablet or an omega-3 tablet. Once a day, you can now get really, really good ones that they don't taste fishy at all. You can't let them go. You don't want them in a clear bottle because they'll basically get hit by the sun and go rancid. Do you need to like hyperdose them or not? No. So what's the point of omega-3? Omega-3 is a type of fat that helps in a few things, but predominantly what's called antioxidation or anti-inflammation. So what that basically means in simple terms is, I want you to think of oxidation as like rust on steel. You know, when your door gets a bit creaky, gets a bit rusty, it's kind of like a bit what happens with your joints, kind of a bit what happens with your brain. If it's got lots of inflammation, it's getting rusty. Omega-3 is like the WD-40. All right, omega-3 is the fat that tries to come along and anti-oxidize that rust. So it gets rid of it. So things start functioning a little bit better. So it has really two parts to it, the anti-inflammation part and the immunity part. They're the two reasons that I personally take it. If you've got any questions you want to ask as a follow-on to that, guys, let me know in the comments. All right, couple more questions and then we are ready to rock and roll. Are microwave meals okay? Yep, they certainly are. If you think about a microwave meal is just a meal that's been put in a plate and frozen. It's not as if it's like anything different. There are good microwave meals or high-calorie microwave meals. There are lower-calorie microwave meals. There are good ones in terms of their protein, not so good ones. When you're coming to a microwave meal, it's very simple. And I'm going to use this packet as an example. It's not a microwave meal, clearly. All I'm doing is I'm going to the calories. I'm looking at the calories. And in this case, it says 140 calories. I just want to know that of that 140 calories, at least 14 grams of it is protein. So I get rid of the last number and go down here and I look and I go, protein, 20 grams. Is 20 grams higher than 14? Yes. That's a good high protein food. So if you're choosing a microwave meal, here's what you do. You pick up the box. You don't worry about the labeling. You don't worry about anything else. You think to yourself, does that look tasty? Yes, that looks tasty. I'd like that one. Okay, Flip it over. Look at the calories. The calories will be 400 or 500. Okay, it's 500. 500, that's pretty fine for a main meal. How much protein do we want to be in that dish if it's 500 calories? 50 grams of protein. Chop off the 0 off the 500, we get 50. If that's 55, 60 grams of protein, it's going to be something that I would recommend. If it's not, if it's like 20 grams of protein, which if you think about that, why would something be only 20 grams of protein as a microwave meal? The reason is because it's going to be a higher fat or higher carbohydrate dish. It's going to be something like a pasta with a tiny handful of chicken in it, but lots of Alfredo sauce. Or it's going to be something like a lasagna that's got cream and pasta and a little bit of beef, but not really much. These are foods that I wouldn't be consuming as part of your regular diet. But if you take one that's like, it's got chicken and it's got veggies in it, it might have a little bit of sugary sauce, and you turn it over and it's 460 grams of protein, 46 grams of protein with 460 calories, that's a good option. Okay, so we call that the 10-to-1 rule. Final question. How true is it that genetics play a role in our ability to build muscle? Oh, it is very, very true. All you need to do is go and look at the vast range of different humans that you see. One of my friends, Charlie, I always use him as an example. He's built like a Greek god. To my understanding, he's natural, and I'm just never going to look like that. I'm not Swedish, I'm not 6 foot tall, and I don't have shoulders that wide. And so I really do think that, if you don't like your genetics, you can blame your mum and dad. But aside from that, there's not much you can do to change that side of things. So there's genetics and there's lifestyle. So what we do is we just look at the lifestyle, right? We look at what are the things that I can control. Focus on the things you can control and leave the genetics to mum and dad, and, give them a backhand next time you see them. All right, team. G'day, Pookie. What's going on, man? All right, I'm going to love you guys and leave you there. Hopefully this morning's session was helpful. If you have any other questions that you want to ask, you can obviously bang them through to our coaching inbox. Apart from that, I'm going to love you and leave you guys. Peace out. Don't forget, we'll see you guys on the coaching calls this week. Cannot wait. Peace.